Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another off the cuff. That was a horrible intro. Anyways, we're back with another unscripted vlog, blog, whatever these are. I have no clue what they are, even myself. But today is the episode, the time where we go over my anime list. Whew. So, I mean, we can go over what I'm watching right now, but that's whatever. I'm watching Shield Hero, and I've also started watching Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt. I haven't finished either of them. What you really care about is these bad boys right here. Oh yeah. My stats, I believe: 82 TV shows, 9 OVAs, 29 movies, 2,180 episodes, 32.92 days. My mean score is 7.2, which on my rating scale makes sense. And my score deviation is -1. I'm pretty sure that's how my average score deviates, or how often my score deviates from like the overall score it's given on Mal. So overall, I rate shows about 1 point lower than most people on Mal. When I say Mal, by the way, for those uninitiated, Mal stands for my anime list. So whenever I'm going to say Mal a lot, that just means my anime list, which is the site I'm using to keep track of all this. Right now, they're all ordered by score. And you know what? Let's start. I don't know whether to start the bottom or the top. I don't know where to start. Do I want to start good or bad? Let's start the bottom, and let's talk about shows that like matter that are near the bottom. Let's start off with the roasts. Let's start off with the, I got a bone to pick. First of all, I guess before I do that, I should go over what my rating scale even means. So, Mal defines 5 as average. If I were to rate a show right now and put 5, the dash beside 5 says average on Mal. That's not my averages. If I think a show is average, I put it at a 7. 7 is my threshold for average. So the numbers are a little inflated. You're going to see stuff on the lower end of the scale that, like I have no zeros, I have no ones, but that's because I have 7 at an average. So to get a 0, you really have to do something bad. You really have to, I don't know. Well, I don't even know if I could think of a show that deserves a 0 off the top of my head. Also, this is not a critical rating in the sense that these ratings are a mix of enjoyment and how good I think they are as pieces of media. It's a mishmash of the two. So if I say a show, I'm like, I don't like this show, that's why it's rated low. Sometimes I'll say I think the show is bad, that's why it's rated low, and the scale is not consistent at all. My numbers are inconsistent as hell, super subjective. It's almost like a totally gut score. There's not too much thought put into it, but also way too much thought put into it. It's a mess. My rating scale is essentially useless, is what I'm saying. So when we get near the bottom and start hitting up to the top, it's going to seem a little weird, some of my choices where they are, and some of my justifications are going to be pretty weak. I'm not going to lie. I don't think too hard about my anime list or the scores I give most of the time. Sometimes I think real hard, and that especially when I tackle shows that are well known or that I really enjoy. I really think hard about how good I think they are on terms of a number. Anyways, let's start going through the list. It's already been 4 minutes. I ain't talk about a single show. Okay. I think the most obvious shows to talk about down here, we've got Charlotte at 120. Yes, Jun Maeda, the writer of Charlotte. Oh, there's another Jun Maeda show right there, Angel Beats. I don't like Jun Maeda's writing style very much at all. Charlotte is probably the messiest and most inconsistent show. God, I hate... The last episode is one of my least favorite last episodes of any show ever. I watched Charlotte as it was airing, so I watched it week to week. I didn't watch it as one piece, but it was just, what the hell even was it? It was just a total mess that had no idea what it wanted to be. And if it was trying to be a mishmash of everything, it did all the mishmashes of everything really poorly, except maybe the first few episodes. I actually really liked the early slice of life stuff. That stuff I actually thought was okay or palatable. The rest of it was not. I do not like Charlotte at all. That's a 3. I have Charlotte at a 3. I really don't like Charlotte. If you like Charlotte, here's the thing. Also, if I don't like a show you like, I'm not trying to attack you or anything. If you like Charlotte, great. I don't. That's all I'm saying. Also down here we got Guilty Crown. I don't think that's too controversial. I think Guilty Crown is straight trash. It's been a while since I've seen it though. I just remember it had really good music, but oh my god, ugh. That's all I ever really remember. I wish I had more to say about Guilty Crown. Gates down here. I don't know why I finished Gate. I don't know why. Gate, the second season's here too. I don't know why I finished these shows. Also, my 5 is average is 5. Like 5's not average for me. 5 is like a 50 on a test or something. That's how, again, just to reestablish. Angel Beats. I know people love their Angel Beats, but I really do not like Angel Beats. Angel Beats made me feel nothing. I felt nothing watching Angel Beats. The reason I think that is that I watched Angel Beats directly after watching Clannad and Clannad After Story, and I guess those as dramas and as sad dramas just were so much sadder and so much more dramatic that when I went to Angel Beats, I was so underwhelmed and I felt nothing watching Angel Beats. So, sorry all Angel Beats fans out there. Not for me. I did not dig Angel Beats at all. Yo, oh my god. I know people are going to hate me for this. I'm going to click on the shows actually. I got Kaguya at a 5. Yeah, I have Kaguya-sama at a 5, and I know y'all are about to cancel me right now. Y'all about to cancel me. I do have a reason. Or, I do have my justifications. I've thought pretty hard. Well, not thought pretty hard. You know, my opinion on Kaguya is that the first 3 episodes are straight flames. Straight flames, yo. They're just straight flames. They're great. I actually really enjoyed the first 3 episodes. But from episode 4 on, oh my gosh, it became a chore to watch. I wasn't laughing. It wasn't funny. I'd say every 1 out of 3 skits were landing. In the later episodes or in the later 2/3 of the show, it got really repetitive. It kept reusing scenarios. It just did not. I didn't enjoy myself, you know. So Kaguya-sama at a 5. You know what? I gotta change my ratings here. Because though I think Kaguya is as bad as Gate, no, I don't. I don't think Kaguya is as bad as Gate. In fact, I might put Gate down to a 3 as well. I think Gate is ugh. But I might put Kaguya. Kaguya is either getting moved up to a 6 or all these are getting bumped down to 4s or 3s. Because seeing Kaguya down here actually hurts me too. It should not be down here. I'm going to move it. So Kaguya is average at best. Well, at best it's like amazing, but the rest of the show, other than the first third, was just ugh. I really didn't enjoy it. So that's getting either moved up or everything else is getting moved down. Because I think relative to everything else, Kaguya should be above Sword Art Online and Sword Art Online 2, and like it should slot in about here in the 6s. In fact, I'll move it to the 6 right now. I'll move it to a 6. I gotta move over to edit it, I believe. Or I'm not logged in. This is an incognito window. So, okay. I'm not logged in. I can't edit it right now. But Kaguya, I change my mind when I'm talking about it. I think it's a 6. This is also really recent, so my ratings are a lot more harsh recently. So, that's why it's down here. I'm sorry, Kaguya fans. It's not a 5. It's a 6. If that makes any difference. But yeah, not a Kaguya fan. Kaguya was okay and kind of meh and not the greatest. All at the same time. But when it hits, it hits. But it hits so few times, at least for me. And comedy is really so hard to quantify and so hard to subjectively say whether it's good or bad or not. So, but Kaguya's comedy from the 3rd episode on was just not working for me. What else is down here? We talked enough about Kaguya. Psycho-Pass 2, I was so disappointed. Code Geass movies, you're going to see a lot of Code Geass movies, like the Akito movies. I haven't seen those in forever, so if I had to tell you my opinion on them, I'd really struggle. So I'm going to skip over any of the Code Geass movies. Yamada-kun and the Seven Witches, that was okay. Psycho-Pass 2 is a huge disappointment. I really don't like Psycho-Pass 2. You'll see Psycho-Pass higher up in the list here. Sword Art Online and Sword Art Online 2. Yes, SAO. SAO was one of my first anime, and even I, the young strapping teenager I was, and I guess I'm not strapping young anymore. I'm still technically a teenager, but even I felt it in Sword Art Online. Like, what is happening? Okay, first half of Sword Art Online, I loved it. As a kid, younger. I don't love it anymore. I don't love the first half anymore. I think the first half's okay. As a young kid, the first half of Sword Art Online was... I ate it up, man. I ate up Sword Art Online. That was my go-to. The second half of Sword Art Online, even as like somebody who'd never seen anime and barely even read anything or watched anything, I was just really uncultured, to be honest. I hadn't seen much any media at all. Even I felt the second half of Sword Art Online. As oblivious as I was and naive I was at the time, even I didn't like the second half of Sword Art Online. So the way it balances out, I think the first half of Sword Art Online is like a 6 or a 7. I think the second half of Sword Art Online is like a 4 or a 3. So it balances out to about a 5. Sword Art Online 2 was just a 5 the whole way through. Yeah. Not much else to say about that. We got the Fire Emblem anime at a 5. The Fire Emblem anime, I used to hate the Fire Emblem anime, but that's also when I was in my old anime looks ugly, old anime is so bad. That's when I was in that phase when I watched it for the first time. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times now. It's okay. It's passable. It's not great, hence it being a 5. But you know what? I've seen a lot worse, and you know, whatever. I don't hate it as much as I used to, so it's slowly been it's climbed up to a 5. I used to have it at like a 2 or a 3, but it's been climbing up recently. Yuri on Ice at a 6. I had a sneeze too. So sorry. Yuri on Ice at a 6. Yuri on Ice, the characters are very much at the center of the show, but none of them resonated with me. None of them really clicked with me except JJ. The only character that clicked with me on Yuri on Ice was JJ. King JJ. 1, he's Canadian. 2, he just has so much life in him. He's just full of energy. He's just... Every time JJ was on the screen, I was entertained to no end. I love JJ. I did not resonate or like or enjoy much of the rest of the cast. It didn't click with me at all. Like, and a lot of the sporting messages or a lot of the sports stuff or the sports like kind of tropes it delves into, I just seen done better in other sports shows, because I do watch a decent amount of sports anime, and I just felt like Yuri on Ice, the characters are the centerpiece, none of them clicked with me. A lot of the sports storytelling I feel has been done so much better in other sports anime, and that's why I have it as 6. It's still a perfectly good, it's like average, just slightly below average sports anime. And I know Yuri on Ice fans, they love Yuri on Ice. But I can't say the same, really. What else we got down here? We got Re:Zero down here at a 6. I've only seen Re:Zero once, and my memory of it is not good. So I can't really justify this choice at the moment. Steins Gate Zero at a 6. If you follow me on Twitter, you know my dislike for Steins Gate Zero. I might put it lower than a 6, to be honest. I think Steins Gate Zero absolutely botched it. It botched it. It screwed it. And it'll make sense. If you saw my list at the tops, I have Steins Gate in my top like 3-4 shows ever. So Steins Gate Zero, I've read the visual novel for both of them. I know Steins Gate Zero's story really well. they didn't really do Steins Gate Zero story well, and the direction was bad, and the sound design was bad, and the animation was subpar. Everything about Steins Gate Zero was worse than the original, and not only that, it was mediocre. It was so mediocre. It was so disappointing. Steins Gate Zero, oh man, I could talk like Steins Gate Zero is one of my least, like, as a show, I can't really say it's too bad. Its mediocrity is so frustrating in the face of Steins Gate the original's kind of excellence and brilliance and just style. Steins Gate Zero, beside Steins Gate, just looks like a potato. It looks like a slice of white bread. And I guess I don't know what Steins Gate would be in this analogy, but I just, you know what, Steins Gate Zero, not a fan. Not a fan. I really don't like it. I've read the VN. The VN's better. The anime's worse than the VN. It's, I could go on, but I won't. We've got a lot more to get through. We're only at 102. Okay. Real Life, not much to say about that. Durarara times 2. I really don't remember it very well. I can't really justify that. Akito movies. All right, we got the first of Major. Major World Series. This is the movie one, right? It's an OVA. Okay, so Major is a baseball anime, and you're gonna see a lot of Major on my list because I've watched a ton of Major. Major is like, I guess, my baseball anime. I don't know. Major varies so wildly in quality, and the World Series movie or OVA is probably, it's not the greatest. I don't really like it. I think as a conclusion, it's okay. As a final OVA, it's okay, but like compared to the relative to the rest of the seasons, and they're all of them are kind of split up among here. You're gonna see Major Season 2's down here as well, at a 6 as well. Major Season 2 is just, I'm not a fan of Major Season 2 either. But I'll talk more about Major when we get higher up in the list, because some of Major's seasons are some of my favorite sports anime seasons ever. So, what else we got here? Bunny Girl Senpai? Yes. Topical show to talk about. But yeah, we got Bunny Girl at a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed Bunny Girl, and I have it as a 7 average. It was good. It was okay. But it is not... I wasn't on the hype train. I really enjoyed a lot of the wit and the funny dialogue, and, you know, as a melodrama, I guess I enjoyed a lot of the melodrama too. But for me, it really just, the later half of the show just doesn't have the same charm, doesn't have the same, like, gusto as the first half. And the last arc is one of my least favorite. It's the I cannot stand the last arc of Bunny Girl Senpai. I really can't. I wanted to stop watching the show in the final arc, and it did nothing for me. The final arc did 0 for me, which kind of sucks because the first half was doing like, oh man, I was having a good time. I felt it was like an 8 or a 9. Slowly as the show went on, it just didn't keep up the pace that it was at, and then the last arc I just really did not resonate with me, and I really don't know what else to say. So Bunny Girl for me, I have it at a 7. Megalobox also at a 7. Megalobox is full of style, and it's another thing. I feel the same with Bunny Girl Senpai. It starts off so strong, and it's full of life and personality and style, but then it never really, it builds up, but the later episodes of Megalobox just don't have the payoff, and the animation is good, but the fights really lack a lot of impact, especially in the later half. So Megalobox is probably like the most average sports anime I've ever seen, but not in a bad way, actually. It's very average, but you know what? There's not very much fault to find with it either. It's just a good average boxing anime. So overall, my tone on it is pretty positive. I feel it's like a very positive 7, as opposed to Bunny Girl, where I feel it's like a more negative 7 for me. If I had to say like a strong 7 or light 7, going like Anthony Fantano's style, I'd say Megalobox is a strong 7, and then Bunny Girl is like a light 7. What else we got down here? We're getting into like all the 7s, all the shows I consider average. Okay. Boku no Hero second season. I'm not okay. I saw Boku no Hero Academia when it was airing originally, and I guess I'll talk about both seasons because I both have them at a 7. Boku no Hero Academia just doesn't do much for me, but at the same time I can't fault it too much because it's very solid. It's got a solid foundation and it's just solid and good, but it never blew my mind at any point. It never wowed me, and none of the characters have resonated with me on a very deep level. It's whenever I watch it, I just feel kind of, most of the time it's bored, but at the same time it's not bad. It's just average. It's an average shonen. It's an average. That's really all I gotta say. I'm sorry, my critique of anime is definitely not as in depth as, let's say, when I talk about video games, because I'm not an animator, I'm not a storyteller, I'm a game designer, so my perspective on games is going to be a lot more developed than my anime perspectives, and a lot of these scores are very gut scores. And for me, Boku no Hero, it's just a gut 7. Like, it's average, it's okay, it's pretty good. It's an average 7. It's a solid average shonen. And I'm going to be saying that a lot about a lot of these shows, that they're just solid average shows in their respective genres. Expect me to say that a lot more. Konosuba. I believe this is Konosuba. Yep, this is Konosuba. And I believe I have the second season of Konosuba down here too. Yeah, both seasons of Konosuba. Konosuba, I'm about to repeat myself again, but it's just a solid average comedy. I really, I had a good time with it. I laughed. I had a giggle or two. I was never on the floor losing it, but it was a fun, solid, enjoyable ride. Not mind-blowing in terms of comedy, but I still really enjoyed it. A Silent Voice. Now, A Silent Voice I have at a 7 as well, mainly because this is more a relative score to the manga, because I read the manga before the movie came out, and I absolutely adore it. I think it's great. But the movie, by comparison, is just not there. I have like the manga rated at a 9 or a 10, but the movie I have at a 7. It tries really hard. It really gives it its best go to try to tell this story within the time it's given, but it just doesn't quite do it. It gets close, it's in the ballpark, but it's not quite there. You can see the flashes of like the brilliance of the original story there, but it's not all there. And as a result, that's why I have it at a 7. It's really just it's a worse version of the manga. Or it's an alternate telling, but as a result, it's worse. It just suffers from its format of being a movie and trying to tell the story. So, Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works, the second season, but Unlimited Blade Works is here's 2. Both of them at 7s. So yeah, Unlimited Blade Works, I'm a big Fate fan. And Unlimited Blade Works, the same thing I said about Koi no Katachi or A Silent Voice, the same thing I said about A Silent Voice, I'm going to say about Fate Stay Night. Because I read the original Fate Stay Night visual novel, and Unlimited Blade Works is my favorite route of that visual novel. And it's the same thing, the anime, for me, it did such a good job at like capturing the action, but in terms of capturing the philosophy, it gets close, but again, it's not quite there. In Unlimited Blade Works, you have a constant internal dialogue in the visual novel. You have a consistent internal dialogue with Shiru, the main character, and you hear all of his thoughts and all of his inner workings. But you don't get that in the anime. You get some of it, but you don't get all of it, and not in the same way that you do in the visual novel. And for me, the writing of Unlimited Blade Works in the visual novel is super emotional, super just, oh man, it's like the way Shiru narrates the fights, the way like the sound effects are going off, oh man, it just really resonated with me. And the anime, although it's flashy and looks gorgeous and really captures the action and the impact of the fights, I just don't get the same sensation, the same feeling. And as a result, it ends up feeling a lot more average by comparison. So that's why I have Unlimited Blade Works at a 7. It's another instance of where I've read the source material, which I love, but then the adaptation feels average by comparison. But for me, this really hurts with Fate's Net Unlimited Blade Works because it's such a great attempt. It's so close, but it's not quite there. And by not quite be there, it's just it's a hard rating. It's a strong 7 for sure. And then I guess I'd say Koi no Katachi's a light 7. And then Unlimited Blade Works is like a strong. Food Wars 7. I classify Food Wars more as a comedy than a shonen, although it is shonen as well. But as a comedy and as a piece of comedy, I have it as 7. It's entertaining, it's funny, but again, I was never rolling on the floor laughing. I was never totally gut busted. But I still enjoyed myself a lot watching Food Wars. Like, I'd say Food Wars is another instance of a strong 7, not a light 7. It's a strong 7. Hibike Euphonium, it's been a while since I've seen it. Let's talk about Shingeki no Kyojin, because we've got a few things coming up here, aka Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan at this point, I feel, is pretty over. It's the life cycle of a lot of popular shows. They're popular, everybody's hyping it up, everybody's following it, then it kind of faders off, and then everybody kind of flips on it, and now everybody hates it and everybody dislikes it. And now we're slightly starting to come back up on Attack on Titan with the more recent seasons in terms of the public perception of it. But the Attack on Titan hate is still out there, and I do not understand it. Attack on Titan is just a solid show. It's entertaining. A lot of time, I find it at least gripping at times. And again, as a manga reader, I prefer the manga. I prefer the source material. But the anime does a pretty good job at capturing like some of the visceral scenes and a lot of the like philosophy that's going on in the story. The anime captures it very well. And I think, Attack on Titan came out during this time where like any character could die was like the kind of the trend, especially after like Game of Thrones. Like everybody's like, oh my god, it's like anybody could die. And at the time it felt very novel, but in retrospect, I know a lot of people take more issue with it. I still really enjoyed Attack on Titan. I have a good time with it. I think it has solid themes. I think it has, as an animation, I think the animation, especially in recent seasons, has been killer. It's been sick. It's been awesome. So yeah, I think Attack on Titan is a strong 7. I actually really like Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is probably in the 7s here, but I'd actually consider myself, I'm an Attack on Titan, like at least a casual Attack on Titan fan. I really like the story. I really like it. I think it's pretty good. And I mean, I've got the anime at a 7, but I'm a bigger fan of the manga. But yeah, I like Attack on Titan. We also got Golden Time in here. It's been so long since I've seen Golden Time, so I can't really say much. Carnival Phantasm is Fate fan service. If you love Fate and Fate Stay Night, you're gonna love Carnival Phantasm. Major. Oh man, we're gonna get into some of the major seasons here. More Code Geass. Oh, we got Code Geass and Major. I guess should be the next ones I talk about. Oh, I got a lot of shows in here I want to talk about. Let's start with Toradora. Toradora was my first like rom-com anime, or it's a rom-com. Yeah, I don't know if it's rom-com. It's been, again, Toradora. It's been such a long time, but Toradora was kind of my introduction to the genre. I think it's just. It's solid. It's a really solid introduction to the rom-com anime genre, at least, and I had a really good time with it. I think it's great. Again, Toradora is probably on the strong 7 side. Major. Let's get back to Major. Major Season 1, Major Season 3, and Major Season 4. So the bulk of Major, pretty much. Major is just a really solid baseball anime. There's really not much. It's just a solid baseball anime with honestly just a lot of fun baseball matches, fun characters. It's often silly and nonsensical, but I really didn't mind. And in the case with the Major, you really follow like this character throughout his entire life. Like the main character starts when he's really young until he's like in the big leagues, and he's like, oh man, it's just a lot of fun to watch the progression of like his life, and you really feel like you're a part of the journey. And it's just a really enjoyable baseball anime. I wish my criticism was a little more in depth, but when you gotta go through like hundreds of or like tens of shows here, like I can't give all of them the attention they deserve. But Major is a lot of fun. Code Geass. Code Geass is like is one of the first shows I watched, so it's like a teen favorite of mine. In fact, I might rate R2 a little lower, but we'll talk about that. Code Geass is just, oh man, it's an edgelord's fantasy. Like, if you're a young teenage edgelord, you're gonna love Code Geass. You've got your chess analogies, you've got your like super death abilities, you've got blood everywhere, you've got like crazy like political intrigue and stuff. If you're an edgy teen, Code Geass is like your bread and butter. And luckily, when I watched it, I was an edgy teen. And I think to this day, I really like Code Geass. I have a good time watching it. When I go back and revisit it, second time around, when you're younger, you don't notice things. Now that I'm older and I go back to Code Geass, some things I'm like, I don't know. Because some of the plot stuff they pull is kind of ridiculous. But that's also kind of the appeal of the show. I do not like season 2, except the ending. I really like the ending of Code Geass. I think the ending of Code Geass is... Oh man, when I first saw the ending of Code Geass, I was like, what? No way. That didn't just happen. But the rest of the show, it loses a lot of the tactical flair of the first season. The first season, the battles are super tactical. It's like, again, the chess analogies are everywhere. The second season, not so much. The second season's like, who's got the bigger mech, and whoever's got the bigger mech wins. It's just... Oh man, I gotta sneeze again. Whoa. Apologies. It just loses a lot of the tactical flair, a lot of like the gusto of the first season. It just loses it, and the battles get boiled down to, oh, we're gonna battle, but the last second I'm gonna reveal my big mech. That's most of the battles. Let's battle. I'm about to lose, but then big mech. I have a big mech. Like, at least that's how I remember it. So yeah, Code Geass, a teen favorite of mine, but in retrospect, not as great as when I first watched it. It's dropped. I think I used to have it at a 9. It's dropped to a 7 over the years as my kind of standards and the amount of stuff I've seen increases. But I still have a good time with Code Geass. Full Metal Alchemist, the original. The original Full Metal Alchemist was my first anime. And it holds a really special place in my heart. I think the first opening to Full Metal Alchemist is like one of the most iconic images, at least in my head, of my early high school like years. And even like the show in general is really just an icon of my like teenage years. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I'm not sure if I can justify the 7 or if I can talk or elaborate much on the 7. However, I do think the first half of Full Metal Alchemist is amazing. I love the first half. It's really the second half where I fall off the boat again, but again, I'm operating off much more vague memories. It's been a while since I've seen the show. But yeah, Full Metal Alchemist is a classic. The original. We'll talk about Brotherhood a bit. Full Metal Alchemist is a classic, and I love it. It's a strong 7 for sure. It struggles in the later half, and I don't buy some of the stuff that happens in the later half. But again, I'm operating off a lot of memories here. I might be misremembering stuff, so. We're in the 8s now. So now we're getting to the 8s. the eights are shows that I like. I don't have much negative to say about. So we're out of the stuff. You're gonna see a lot less complaining now and a lot more gushing, because when we get to the eights, I usually don't have that much negative to say, and it's only praise. And I guess first on the list is Origaru, right? This is Origaru. Origaru's kind of got that same wit as Bunny Girl Senpai, only it never lets up, and the wit and the funny banter is always center stage. It's always at the center of it, and it's great, and it's such a fun watch and read, because I've also read the light novels. Where are my light novels? Where are my light novels at? I have the light novels because I've read them and I really enjoy them. And it's just fun wit and banter and just a little bit of like romance sprinkled in. It's just a fun, enjoyable time that I just have a great time watching Origaru. Or My Teen Romantic Comedy Can't Be This Bad, I think is the English title. What is it? What's his English title? I don't know what his English title is. So yeah, Origaru, I dig it. I dig Origaru. Psycho. Oh, we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's the OVA, at least. This is the OVA, but all of Origaru I have rated at, Origaru is all rated at 8s. So, Fate Stay Night, Heaven's Feel 2 and 1. So, the Heaven's Feel movies, I think, do a much better job than Unlimited Blade Works does at capturing the essence of the source material. Although Unlimited Blade Works did a great job at that, but I think Heaven's Feel is even better. In fact, I think I enjoy watching Heaven's Feel a lot more than the visual novel route of Heaven's Feel. I think Heaven's Feel so far, of these two movies, they're doing a great job. And I think they've also made a lot of changes that only enhance it. I've also seen both of these in the movie theater on the big screen, and they are some of the most beautiful anime I've ever seen, ever. They're just gorgeous. They're perfect. Ufotable did an amazing job with both of these movies. They continue to look even better and better. And wow, they're just, they're a lot of fun. I would only recommend watching these if you know your Fate stuff, though. If you watch these movies, you literally won't know. You'll have no idea what's happening if you haven't seen all the other Fate stuff or all the other Fate Stay Night stuff. Heaven's Feel is meant to be consumed after you've read the other two routes, or you've seen Unlimited Blade Works. It's after Unlimited Blade Works. It's after the original Fate route, which you need to watch the Dean 2006 anime. I'm not going to get into Fate. Fate's too complicated to get into right now. But yeah, I love these movies. Saw them on the big screen. They're a great time. Another movie we got on here, we got Your Name. I also saw Your Name in theaters, and second only to the Heaven's Feel movies in terms of a spectacle. It's a visual, feast for the eyes. Like, they are only second to the Heaven's Feel movies, in my opinion, as in terms of visual feasts. They're great. It's a visual, spectacle, bombastic, fun time. Is it the number 2 ranked on Mal? Is it that good? Not in my opinion. Your Name is good, but it's not that good. But Your Name's still really solid, a fun time. It gets a little scattered at times, loses focus sometimes, but overall it's just a really fun watch. And, I was entertained the whole way through, and especially in the theaters, the visuals were just, like, as a visual experience in a theater, it was amazing. So yeah, I do love Your Name, although I don't think it's as good as everyone else thinks it is. I think it's great. I don't think it's the best of all time or anything. Baby Steps. Baby Steps is the most slept on sports anime. Period. Everybody sleeps on Baby Steps. Baby Steps is not flashy, and it's pretty basic, and it kind of looks really generic and uninspired. But underneath its kind of vanilla coat of paint, it has got so much amazing life lessons and philosophy and just progression. The progression of the main character in Baby Steps is incredible. It's amazing. The tennis matches in Baby Steps are so good. Baby Steps is not a flashy sports anime. There's no over-the-top finishing moves or crazy plays. that are like impossible in real life. It's really grounded in reality and really grounded. It's just a grounded show in general. It's really grounded and down to earth, and it just gets so much right about self-improvement, about getting better at any task, the mentality you need to succeed. And it's just there's no bullshit. It's just all straight facts the whole way through about self-improvement and bettering yourself and competing. And I love Baby Steps. Baby Steps is so slept on. More people need to watch Baby Steps or read it. And it's some of the best matches I've ever seen without having any flash. There's no flash. It's all just mind games and thinking and just emotional moments purely from the games without having to rely on exaggerants or over-the-top moves. It's just, it's such a joy to read and watch. I love Baby Steps, and I wish so much more people would watch it or give it a chance beneath its kind of vanilla and like kind of boring visual style. It's just it's great. I love Baby Steps. Baby Steps is one of my favorite sports anime. What's also in here? Baby Steps, Heaven's Feel, Your Lie in April. Yes, that's what this is called. Your Lie in April. Your Lie in April is pretty good. The first time I watched it, it destroyed me. Like, it's straight up. I was done the first time I watched it. Second time, not so much. It's still great, and I still really like Your Lie in April. I think it's one of the most emotional finales to any show I've ever watched. Like the final piano performance by, I think his name Kosei. I think that's his name. Wow. Like that moment, so powerful. I was moved so much the first time I saw it. And I still get moved by that scene to this day, but the rest of the show doesn't hold up the second time round, and even less the third time round. If you've only seen Your Lie in April once, I'd say keep it that way, because with each rewatch, it kind of loses, I don't know, it loses something. I don't know what it is. It's just me. I still think it's really solid. I think the first time I watched it, I had it at a 10. Slowly over the years, as I've rewatched, I've put it slightly lower each time, kind of tempered it a bit, because I think first time through it's great, second time through it doesn't hold up as well. But it's still a great show, really emotional. The final piano scene sticks with me. It's one of the moments that stuck with me the most in any anime, and it got me into a classical music phase for a bit too. So yeah, I love me some Your Lie in April. What else have we got here? Hajime no Ippo. You already know. Hajime no Ippo is so much fun. So much fun. It is like, oh man. This is The Rising, which is one of the weaker seasons. I think I have other seasons of Hajime no Ippo at 9s. If I recall this season wasn't as crazy as some of the other ones. Let me look through. Hajime no Ippo Rising. I think the most recent season of Hajime no Ippo is at a 9. Hajime no Ippo. Do I have another Hajime? Yeah, New Challenger, I believe. I'm trying to remember. There's this one fight that's just insane. Actually, all the fights are insane. I'll talk more about Hajime no Ippo higher up in the list then. Kill la Kill. I got Kill la Kill in an 8. Kill la Kill, I just really recently saw it, so my opinions on it are very fresh. Kill la Kill is just full of style. It's so stylish. The animation's incredible. The directing is incredible. As a visual spectacle, it is insanely good. I love Kill la Kill as a spectacle. The argument is made that underlying the spectacle there isn't as much substance, but I disagree. I think the style does outweigh the substance, but there is still some fun substance to the actual characters and plot of the show that still keeps it like emotionally or intellectually engaging. I love all the clothes stuff. I love the clothes motif and theme that they go with here, and the thread of fate and stuff. Like, that stuff's so cool. And the whole, like, clothing is man's original sin. Like that stuff is the stuff I just eat up. I eat up that stuff. I think a lot of the Destiny stuff that they go over is really cool as well. It's just a lot of fun, and I agree to it. There's less substance than style, but the style is done so well. It's done so well that it's so much fun to watch, where even if there is a little lack of substance underneath, I was still so entertained watching it. I was so entertained. I was having such a good time watching it. I really like Kill la Kill. Oh man, hit my pop filter again. The Wind Rises. The Wind Rises is a pretty solid Ghibli film. I think it's not a showstopper or anything relative to the rest of, Miyazaki's catalog, but The Wind Rises, I had a really solid time. I really enjoyed it. I liked the airplanes. That's such a weird thing to say. I like the airplanes in The Wind Rises, but I had a good time with it. It's been a while since I've seen it. I wish I could say more, but I remember when I watched it, it really did resonate with me, which I think I have it as an 8. Because when I talk about it as if it's like a 7, but there was emotional resonance that I had with it that's just lost to me now. In terms of what I'm thinking about right now, I've forgotten. So I wish I could talk more about it. What is this? The Devil is a Part-Timer. I like The Devil is a Part-Timer as a comedy more than Konosuba and more than Food Wars, but it's also been a long time since I've seen it. So I wish I could say more, but I haven't seen this in years. So most comedies I only watch once. And I watched this years ago. So I don't know if it holds up. I have it at an 8 though. That's more of a Origaru. Psycho-Pass. So I'm a big Gen Urobuchi fan. I love him. I think he's a really fun writer. He's always tackling fun topics and crazy themes and doing all this wild stuff with his stories. I love me some Gen Urobuchi, and Psycho-Pass is no exception. I really like Psycho-Pass. Psycho-Pass is a strong 8 for sure. Psycho-Pass tackles a lot of... It's just a lot of fun. I've been saying that a lot. Psycho-Pass is not a lot of fun. Psycho-Pass is a thrill. It tackles tough topics, tough themes. It's thrilling. It's just got it's got this recipe for this perfect crime sci-fi drama, and I know the show is stuck with me because I still have so many images in my mind of frames from the show and ideas from the show that have just stuck with me throughout the years. A lot of the stuff on technology and cyborgs, because of there's this one character who's mostly a cyborg character, and he's talking about how cell phones are extensions of ourselves and stuff. It's really cool. The main villain, why am I losing his name? The guy who the Psycho-Pass gun doesn't work on. He's great. He's a really fun villain. There's a lot of just cool scenes. It's a cool show. Psycho-Pass is a cool show. I really like it a lot. I'm saying that a lot. I really like it that I really like that I'm saying it a lot, Oh boy, we're almost at the hour mark. God damn. We're getting up there though. Psycho-Pass. Madoka Magica. I love me some Madoka Magica. Like I said, I love Gen Urobuchi. I love Gen Urobuchi as a writer. Madoka Magica, the first time I saw it, I went in totally blind. I knew nothing about the show. In fact, the first time I watched it, I dropped it after the first episode. I'm like, why am I watching this? Why am I watching this magical girl show? I revisited it, and I came back to it. You know what? I'll give it another shot. And what? I literally got fooled because I dropped the show after one episode. I came back, rewatched it, and then I was like, wait, what? This is what this show is? I love it. Madoka Magica is not what it seems to be on the surface, if you didn't know that already. If you haven't seen it, go in blind, go in knowing nothing. But wow, this show just flips the tables on you so many times. I had such a... when I was watching it, I was always on the edge of my seat. and the twists, especially the last like few twists, I really dug them. I really just dug all the twists in this story. I dug them all. I'm not sure if I have the movie. I think I have the Rebellion movie here. I'm not sure if I'd rate it at an 8. I think I'd probably move that down to a 7, but it's hard to talk about Madoka Magica without spoiling it. And I might have already spoiled it, but how I've talked about it. Major Season 6. Oh man, again, I'll talk about Major when I get to the highest rated one. But Major Season 6 and Major Season 5 and 6, these 2 seasons, best seasons of Major. Easy the best seasons of Major. And I'll get into Major more when we get to Season 5 up here. Oh, Red Line. Red Line is another show, or not, it's a movie, but it's another kind of movie where it's almost all style and very little substance, but at the same time, it's just such a fun ride. Literally a fun ride. The race is just insane. The animation is insane. It's got so much style. It's got so much flash, so much flair. It's so much fun to watch unfold. Even if, again, there isn't too much substance underneath that flash. But then again, I haven't really thought too hard about Redline. There might be some underlying substance, but that I've missed. But such a good time. Where are we at? 1 outs. Whew. Oh yeah, I love me some 1 outs, man. 1 outs is like baseball. Like it's baseball, but it's not really baseball. It's like the premise is this guy pitches at like 60 to 50 miles an hour, but somehow strikes out everybody because his mind games are just that insane. And his mind games and the psychological battles of these at-bats and these pitches and like the baseball games, it's baseball with like the rules stretched and the abilities of this pitcher stretched to their limits, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun. I love 1 outs. I don't know what else to say. I love 1 outs. It's full of just it's got a flair to it. It's got a psychological edge to it. It's another one. It's like it's an edgelord's dream. I love 1 outs. The Karai no Kyokai movies, I haven't seen them in a while. I'm not going to talk about them. It's been too long since I've seen them, and I barely even comprehended them when I watched them. So, Clan Ad. I think I have After Story up here too. I'll talk about it when we get to After Story, because I think I have After Story up here as well. Yeah, I have After Story up here, so we'll talk about it then. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Nausicaa's so cool. It's not as polished. It's not as necessarily, I guess, as finely crafted as Miyazaki's later films, because this was his like first directing debut with, I believe, Ghibli. But wow, there's so much fun. Here's the thing. Why do I keep saying fun and good, and I should stop. But Nausicaa, it's got so much substance to it. It's actually insane. It's got some of the coolest monster designs I've ever seen. It's got a really it's got a good plot, it's got a good narrative, and it's backed by some stunning visuals. Like, oh my gosh, when stuff is going down in this movie, the aesthetic is just so strong. It's just drenched in this amazing art style and look. I love it. I love Nausicaa. I'm going to say I love a lot of these shows, but I do. We're getting into, again, these are shows I'm gushing about. I love them. Perfect Blue, another movie. Perfect Blue is really, really cool. I'm going to be saying cool a lot because, you know, this movie's cool. This is a cool movie over here. You see this movie over here? Cool movie. Perfect Blue is about this kind of line between what is real and what isn't in terms of a persona and a person, and it really tackles this idol culture and how we perceive people and masks we put on, and at some point it's a delve into insanity and how that line can drive people nuts. and it's super. At points in the movie, you're lost, but you're supposed to feel lost. Like it loses, you get lost in the movie. You get lost in the movie as if someone was getting literally losing their mind, and it's a really cool movie. I love Perfect Blue. It's got this awesome aesthetic to it as well. Perfect Blue is strong 8. I love Perfect Blue. What is this? Porco Rosso. I love me some Porco Rosso. I'm gonna say fun again, but Porco Rosso is just fun. It's pure childish wonder, adventure, and fun. And it's just a whimsical flying pig. Oh my god, the premise is insane. Porco Rosso is a veteran World War I fighter pilot turned bounty hunter who's transformed into a pig. What else do you need? It's full of life, it's full of wonder, it's full of adventure, it's whimsical. I had such a great time watching Porco Rosso. I loved it. Great Teacher Onizuka. Great Teacher Onizuka is probably my favorite anime comedy. It's so like unapologetic about what it is. It takes the teacher, the crazy teacher, genre is like pretty well-known territory for a lot of comedies. But Great Teacher Onizuka is just got something to it that I just haven't felt before in these types of movies and films. Here in the West, GTO, it's just, it's got this flair, it's got this style, it's got this fun energy to it, but it's also got a really strong emotional core to go along with it. And the visual comedy, the visual comedy is amazing. It's strong. Just the comedy in general. It is my favorite anime comedy, straight up. It's my favorite anime comedy. I love Great Teacher Onizuka. It's funny. I think the later half of the show maybe isn't as weak, or is weaker than the first half. But there's never a dull moment in GTO. There's never a dull moment. There's always something fun happening in GTO. And it's a consistently just good comedy. And there's also, how many episodes is there? 43? It's not too long to watch either. But it's kind of crude. It's crude, trashy humor at its best. Princess Mononoke? I believe so. Yep, Princess Mononoke. I like Princess Mononoke. I think out of the Ghibli films, this one didn't connect with me on a very deep level, but I still had a really good time with it. It's still a really good film. I had a great time with it. It didn't resonate. Again, it didn't resonate with me on a deep level. Like, I know a lot of people love this film. I don't think I'd say I'd like adore it. I think I really like this film. I think I'd give it more of a light 8 in terms of how I feel about it. But as a piece of animation and art, I can totally see why people fall in love with this movie. It is really something to behold as a piece of film. I guess it just didn't resonate with me like it has other people. But I still really like it. I still really like Princess Mononoke. Evangelion. Oh boy. Evangelion, I don't know why this show is so divisive. Actually, I know why it's so divisive. But Evangelion is just a cool... I said cool again. I gotta stop. Is a deep psychological trauma exploration. It's literally exploring the minds of traumatized people and how they act and what they do. And it's such an emotional and raw and visceral viewing experience, especially in some of these scenes where you're literally in these characters' minds and you're trying to figure them out and what they're about and why they act the way they do. And as you unravel these traumas and these pasts, you just come to understand and comprehend and really sympathize with a lot of these characters. I can't say I enjoyed Evangelion, but I do think it was a very profound viewing experience. I got a lot of value out of watching it, and I think it's a really good show. Although I say this in tandem with End of Evangelion, the movie. Not the TV ending is it's not great, but I say this as end of Evangelion plus Evangelion as one piece of media, because I kind of think of them as one piece of media. Yeah, definitely. Oh man, it's like a must-watch. It's a must-watch. It's a classic. If you want to understand, like, the foundation for modern anime, you've got to watch Evangelion. Haikyuu. Oh, we're in the 9s? Yo, we're in the 9s. Did I miss some Haikyuu seasons earlier? Or do I have Haikyuu? Yeah, I do have some Haikyuu down here. No, that's later the 2nd season. Is Haikyuu all up here? No. Okay, Haikyuu. The 2nd season of Haikyuu. This is the... Oh, man. I'm trying to figure out what season this is. It's been a while since I've seen Haikyuu. I saw it while it was airing. So that's like 3 years ago now. So it's been a while. Here's the thing. I have a weird stance because I think Haikyuu is overrated, but I still think it's really, really good. I think Haikyuu is great and really good. I just think... I mean, I have it at a 9. So I can't really say it's overrated if I'm rating it this high. But I really like Haikyuu. Haikyuu has some of the funnest, like, again, when it comes to sports anime, the matches are where it's at a lot of the time. And Haikyuu's volleyball matches are just so much, like, they're so cool. They've got so much life to them. The animation in Haikyuu is great. I love the animation in Haikyuu. The characters, a lot of them are very compelling. Who's the Alba Joyside? The server for Alba Joyside. I don't know his name. I forget his name. That guy's great. I love kind of the perfect, like, kind of like chiseled Falcon guy. Again, I don't remember most of their names. I don't find the mains too compelling. I like the mains. They're okay. I prefer most of the cast to the mains, though. The mains, I feel, I don't know. I don't resonate with them. Or they don't resonate with me. A lot of the supporting cast, though, I love. I love a lot of the supporting cast. Just the mains don't do a lot for me. But Haikyuu, still definitely check it out. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The first season, I have it a 9. Not because of part 1, but because of part 2 is also contained within. Part 1 isn't as bad as people say. Part 1 is still really fun and really solid, and it's pretty good. But part 2 is absolutely legendary. I love part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, for me, is like a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love every single moment. Every single moment. Which, honestly, I'd say, here's the thing. Part 1 is like an 8 for me, and part 2 is like a 10. So that's why I've got it at a 9. Because you've really got 2 shows contained within just, JoJo's. Because this is 26 episodes, but within it, you've really got 2 shows. 2 totally different shows. Again, the first 2 arcs. The first arc, it's good. It's solid. I enjoyed it. But part 2, man. Part 2 is my favorite part of JoJo's by far. And I absolutely adore it. It's action-packed. It's full of life. It's dramatic. It's bombastic. It's just... I live for stuff like JoJo's Part 2. It's full of substance. It's full of flair. It's full of awesome fights. Oh, I love me some JoJo's Part 2. Alright, we're getting into some heavy hitters here. Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is my favorite shonen. Easiest my favorite shonen. Hunter x Hunter is so many different shows under this one umbrella. There's so many stories, so many arcs, so many just wonderful moments under this giant umbrella that is Hunter x Hunter. Each arc brings something new, something fresh, and not only fresh, but does it well every time. It's constantly reinventing itself, it's constantly reinventing its characters, its story, it's constantly evolving, and every time it does, it feels so natural, it feels like it couldn't be any other way. Oh my gosh, Hunter x Hunter is top tier stuff. My favorite arcs have got to be the second half of the Chimera Ant arc. The second half of the Chimera Ant arc is absolutely incredible. The new city arc, I forget what the city's called. The new city arc where it's like the crime kind of thriller in like the whatever, the York New City, that's what it's called, York New City, the York New City arc. Oh man. Again, Hunter x Hunter, each arc brings something new to the table, reinvents the show, throws everything on its head. It's constantly, it feels like such a big, breathing, real world, and it's super cool. And I really love the perspective of the main character. The main characters are so weak. They're not strong agents of the story. Often the story of the world is affecting them more than they are affecting the story, but in a great way. Usually that's a downside in a lot of shows, but the way Hunter x Hunter portrays it, of them as this one piece in this giant world, and the way they function within the world brings out some amazing stories, some just amazing moments. Yeah, Hunter x Hunter is my favorite shonen. Easy. Also, that OP's hot fire. What is this? The Tatami Galaxy. So, the Tatami Galaxy, another show I've watched really recently, so I can give very in-depth thoughts on, because I've seen it so recently I can talk more about it and more in depth because my thoughts are fresh. The Tatami Galaxy is this kind of zany, off-the-cuff, wild exploration of what it means to be a college or a post-secondary kind of student and post-secondary life, and the way it portrays the insecurities, the fears, the lifestyles of the main character and what he's trapped in, and the lifestyle and the way of life that he can't seem to avoid or escape. It's, oh my god, it resonated with me constantly. The way this main character felt about the world, the way this main character acted within the world, just really resonated with me on a deep level. I don't think I'm like this guy at all, but a lot of just the things he does, a lot of the thoughts he has, are thoughts I've had on the nose. And the concept of the rosy college life, the rosy college life, and the constant striving to have this rosy life and this rosy college distance. Once you get to college, everything will be great. Everything will be fine. You'll find the girl of your dreams. You'll get good grades. You'll get a job afterwards, All this fantasizing and these dreams and these ambitions and the harsh reality that is real life and actually post-secondary life being just crashing against that fantasy and that ideal. Oh man, it just really got me. It got me gripped, and I found it extremely, extremely engaging and relatable. Oh man, we're an hour and 10 minutes in. Oh boy. We're still, what are we at? We're at 23, so we still got a lot of shows to talk about. We could be going on even longer here. Hajime no Ippo again. I'll talk about Hajime no Ippo now, because Hajime no Ippo, again, when it comes to lots of sports anime, it's the fights, man. The fights where everything's going down, where the ideals of these characters are being tested, the wills of these characters are being tested, and especially in boxing, where it's such a physical sport, where you're if you get punched, you're physically hurt. It's not like ping pong or something, where when you lose ping pong, when you lose ping pong, you lose ping pong. When you lose in boxing, you're knocked the hell out. You're done. You, as a person, you are defeated. And the way that, Hajime no Ippo shows all these fighters and all their perspectives and all their ideals and how they clash in the ring, it has some just beautiful moments. I think my favorite moment is I think there's an episode called the Boy Who Dreamed of a Knockout. I don't think this is a huge spoiler. I'm going to talk about this episode because I found it especially engaging to me. There's a character who relies on clinching to get his wins. He always times people out. He clinches, he times people out, he wins by decision. That's how he gets his wins. That's his game. That's what he's good at. And he's fighting the main character, and he's winning. He's winning against the main character, and he starts to go on the offensive and punch him. And he's like, this feels good. I feel so good. I can knock him out. I can knock him out. I can get him out. He starts to dream of a knockout. He's been winning by clinching. The fans hate him. The crowd hates him for clinching. Everybody hates him for clinching, for the way he plays the game. Everybody hates him for it. And he gets a glimpse of the glory that he's wanted from victory. That the glory he doesn't get from the way he plays. He sees a glimpse of that glory and he goes for it. But all of a sudden, he's not playing his game anymore. He's playing Ippo's game. And the main character, Ippo, knocks him the hell out. Because he dreamed of the knockout. Because he dreamed of something. He dreamed of being something that he just wasn't for that split second, and he loses. And when they go back to the locker room, and he just cries. It just, on a fundamental level, it just got me, because everybody has had this glimpse of where they see what they want. They see something amazing that they want to be. They see a glimpse of something and they go for it, but it's just not them as a person. Because it's not, they lose. And that's, I don't know, that's so compelling to me. And that's just one story. That's like 1 or 2 episodes. But there's so many instances like that in Hajime no Ippo, where these characters and their wills and their ideologies and their personalities are just put to the test, put to the metal, and wow. I love it. I love Hajime no Ippo. Amazing, amazing show. We're at Brotherhood. Alright, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. The #1 anime of all time. I mean, I have it at a 9. I think Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is hella good. It is hella good. And I saw it after the original. I watched the original when I was really young. I watched Brotherhood about 3 or 4 years afterwards. And oh man, it's good. Brotherhood is hella good. There's a reason why it's #1 in my opinion. Why so many people adore it. It's because it's hella good. It's so good. It's got a strong sense of identity of what it wants to be, of the story it wants to tell, and it just sticks to it through and through, and has some amazing character moments. I love Edward and I love Alphonse, but I love almost all of the supporting cast just as much. And as they go on their travels and as the plot progresses, the mystery begins to get unraveled of what actually is going on in this world. It's just so compelling, and it's just so well written, well crafted, well animated. It's like the jack of all trades of anime, of shonen. It is the jack of all trades shonen that wraps everything up on this neat, tight story where everything just clicks. Yeah, Brotherhood's great. I do think the villain is kind of weak, but that's the only reason I think I don't have it at a 10. And it also didn't have a moment where it emotionally changed me, or emotionally kind of like changed my heart, if that makes sense. There wasn't that moment for me while watching it, which is pretty much reserved for me for the 10 out of 10s. The shows that change my perspective on life and the way I live are like the 10 out of 10s, and Brotherhood didn't do that, but Brotherhood is so solid, so tightly written, that it's like I literally cannot give it below a 9. I cannot give it below a 9. It's just so goddamn good. Oh boy. Major again. Again, Major is all over this list, but this is the best season of Major. This is the best season of Major by far. Season 5 of Major is like, oh man, everything that the whole show has been building up to just happens, and it's glorious. It is so glorious. It is just, everything clicks, everything comes together, everything that the whole story has been leading up to. This is it at its best. Season 6 still exists, yes. There's still the other stuff afterward, but this is where I felt Major peaked, where everything that had led up to this moment came to pretty much the best, the ultimate culmination of what it could have come to. And the storytelling, the match. I think this season's like literally one match. Yeah, it's literally one match, but it's great. It's so hard to talk about it without spoiling everything. In fact, this image in itself is kind of a spoiler. But wow, it's oh man, it's the type of peak that you can really only reach when there's been like so much history. Like, because before this, there's like 80, 70 episodes before this point in the show, and everything's coming together at this point. Everything's coming together, and it's so much fun. It's so, oh man, it's great. Yeah, Major's very inconsistent, but when it's good, it's good. Karana Kyokai movies, I can't ignore them. I need to revisit them and re-rate them. Clanad After Story. Clanad After Story. The reason it's a 9, at least for me, it was pretty much the first sad show I watched, the first sad anime, the first intentionally sad show I watched. And as a result, it's really stuck with me more than any of the other sad shows I've watched since. Clanad After Story, I think the ending is kind of, the ending's kind of a cop-out. But up to that point, just the drama, the sadness, everything just, oh man, my teenage self couldn't handle this. And as a result, that's why it's a 9. It's almost a 9 for purely nostalgic reasons, to be honest. I think I'm scared of revisiting the show because I don't think I'll find it as sad. So I'm just going to leave it at a 9 and never revisit it and just keep that rosy image in my head of how sad it was. I don't know if it holds up. It's been a while. But I love me some Clanad. And After Story, After Story got me. What else is up here? Gurren Lagann. Yo, let's talk about Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann is incredible. I don't think there's been a single show I've ever watched that I've felt as empowered after watching than Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann, when I was like a super edgelord, made me believe in myself. This show made me believe in myself, straight up. This show is one of those shows that changed my perspective. It's a strong 9. It's not quite a 10. It's a strong 9. But it literally changed my perspective on life. I'd always consider myself a logical, astute, by the numbers person. Like, again, I was kind of edgelordy. I was like, logic is everything. Reason is everything. But Gurren Lagann just came in and smashed that. And all of a sudden, after I saw Gurren Lagann, I ended up discovering a more emotional side of myself that I didn't even know I had. It really just, it unlocked like a region of my brain that I've locked away in terms of the gusto, the energy, the emotion that I guess I had been suppressing, because Gurren Lagann just brought it out of me. It's so empowering. I love it. Gurren Lagann, great show. Awesome fights. Some of the literally the final 3 episodes are some of my favorite episodes of anime ever, period. I think the last few episodes, some of the greatest pieces of animation ever created. Amazing storytelling, amazing visuals. It's so impactful, and wow, this show makes you feel. It makes you feel alive. It makes you feel the blood in your veins. It's incredible. All right. Omoida Poro Poro, also known as Only Yesterday. I'm sure most of you haven't heard of this movie, and it's not very highly rated or acclaimed, but I love this movie. This movie is all about just self-discovery and self-reflection and just discovering. It's really about discovering yourself, and the way it's portrayed of the childhood of the childhood version of this 20-something is incredible, and it's got some of the most beautiful portrayals of childhood and family I've ever seen. This isn't really a sad show. or sad movie. It's a movie. It's not a sad movie, but I cried a lot and I was deeply moved on many levels by this film. Some of the beauty of the memories, of the old memories from this woman's past. Wow. Just, they sunk into me, and I was just lost in the memories when they were on screen. It's a surreal experience. It was wonderful. It was full of vitality and life. And wow, I wish more people would see this movie or give it a fair shake. It's slow. It is slow. There's not action or any over-the-top stuff that goes down. It's a down-to-earth, grounded yet beautiful look at, childhood and whimsy and, being alive. It's great. Howl's Moving Castle. Howl's Moving Castle. I don't really have much to say about it. I'm going to have to revisit this movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. When I did see it, I was very tired, so I forgot a lot. I've forgotten a lot of it. But yeah. I don't know when I'll come back to this, but I really don't have much to say about it right now. I mean, it's good. I don't know what else to say about it right now. I might have to change the score down because I feel it doesn't fit among the other 9s I have in terms of how I feel about it or how I talk about it. So I'll probably bump it down later. But Howl's Moving Castle is still good. Tears Hajime no Ippo again. I already talked about Hajime no Ippo. Oh my god, we're getting up here, boys. We're almost getting to the heavy hitters up here. Hajime no Ippo. Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell is so goddamn cool. It's so cool. It's so cool. Ghost in the Shell is beautiful. It's stunning. It's intellectually, or it's just engaging on every level. Visually, emotionally, intellectually. The philosophy behind Ghost in the Shell is so strong. The whole movie as a whole comes together perfectly. Every piece is doing its job in this movie to create this aesthetic, this viewing aesthetic that is just wow. I love this movie. Is just full of I don't know what to say. I've been saying full of life. It knows its aesthetic. It knows what it wants to say, and it says it so goddamn well, all while looking visually just incredible. Oh man, Ghost in the Shell is so cool. I love everything about Ghost in the Shell. It's also it's a classic. It's classic. Berserk, the 1996 one, the 1996 or 97 one, 1997 Berserk. Yo, Berserk. I'm a mega Berserk fan. I love Berserk. But this anime in particularly is by far the best adaptation. It's better than the movies. It's better than the the CG ones are more recently. This captures what Berserk is all about. Especially, I mean, the first episode's kind of throws me for a loop. But after the first episode, it just captures the aesthetic, the feel. It just, it's drenched in this. It's drenched in what makes Berserk. This dark, gothic, moody, just engaging medieval. This kind of medieval plot that's oh man, and the ending, the ending. Now, I watched the show before I read the manga. Or I watched this. This got me to read the manga. After I saw this, I had to read the manga. And of course, I do think the manga is better. But this anime does the part of the manga it covers justice. It does it justice. And it's so amazing to see unfold. The soundtrack of Berserk is probably my favorite in anime. straight up. The Berserk's soundtrack is so weird. It's so bizarre, but yet it fits so well. It's iconic. It's brutal. Berserk is goddamn awesome. Goddamn awesome. I love Berserk. The only downside, the reason this isn't a 10 is because the first episode is not the best. And the way it ends, it's mostly a manga ad, because the way it ends isn't, the ending doesn't wrap anything up really. It's an intentional cliffhanger to get you to read the manga, which it did. It was successful. But as a result, as a piece of standalone media, it kind of falters a bit. But it's still, the content here is so strong. So strong. Berserk is goddamn awesome. Also, read it. Read Berserk, please. I know Berserk is already pretty highly read, but more people need to read Berserk, or need to know of it. Monster. Yo, Monster. Monster is so awesome. Monster is this wonderful, thrilling drama that unfolds around this guy who really didn't ask for it. The main character is a surgeon who has a choice between saving a mare or a kid, and he saves the kid, but then the kid goes on to become a serial killer. And the mental gymnastics, the mental flexibility, the ideology of all the people in the story are put to the test. And not just any test, like they are stretched to the limit of what would you do, like in this situation. How would you react? You really put yourselves, you think of this guy's shoes and the shoes he's in and the situation he's in, and there's a certain amount of sympathy and empathy you can have for him. And the situation is just like, if I was in that situation, I don't know what I'd do. If that happened to me, I totally understand the action he just did. It's thrilling, it's dramatic, it's moody, it's like, oh man, the opening to Monster is one of my favorite openings of all time. It just sets the mood so well. It's an amazing exploration of psychology, an amazing exploration of ideologies, and charisma. Charisma's a very interesting topic that it covers too, and it does it very well. Monsters knows what it is, does it amazingly, and is thrilling and engaging almost the whole way through. Monster's great. Alright, boys. We're at the 10 out of 10s. The 10 out of 10s. I'm going to talk about Ping Pong after, because Ping Pong is probably my number one. But I'll talk about the other ones first, because I want to end on Ping Pong. Grave of the Fireflies. Grave of the Fireflies is the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. I literally cried the entire runtime. There wasn't a moment I didn't have tears in my eyes, except maybe the first. Actually, no, literally in the opening scene, I had tears in my eyes, and they never left the whole movie through. It is powerful. It's poignant. It is one of the most. It resonated with me so deeply, is what I'm trying to say. The message is so strong. It's so clear. You see what's unfolding in these characters' lives, and you're thinking, what could possibly compel any person to do anything that would cause this? Oh man. Even thinking about it, I just get choked up, because it's such a powerful vignette of the real effects of war. Not the effects on the map, not the politics, how war affects everyday people who have nothing to do with it, who have been able to have nothing to do with it. It's about kids in war and how the innocent get caught in the crossfires every time in war. It's not a war film. It's definitely not a war film. There's no pro side here. It's just showing This is what happens when war exists. And the tragedy that unfolds is just, oh my god. It is so sad. It is the saddest thing I've ever seen. Saddest piece of media. I consider myself a pretty tough customer when it comes to crying. But yeah, I've never cried as much as I have watching a piece of media than Grave of the Fireflies. I think everybody on Earth should watch this movie, because I don't think any person could ever justify violence or war after watching this. Maybe you could, but I mean that's not the point. Man, I can't. It's hard to talk about. But yeah, Grave of the Fireflies is absolutely incredible. Let's talk about Fate Zero before Steins Gate. I want to go in. Actually, let's talk about Fate Zero. All right, you know how I said Code Geass is an edgelord's like haven? Fate Zero is the edgelord's haven. As an edgy teen, Fate Zero was my Bible, bruh. It was my Bible. Fate Zero is dark. It's grim. It is just brutal. It delves into the darkness of just people. And the ideologies at play here. The way people think, the way they think they should rule, the way they think the game should be played, how their views on life. And all wrapped up in this battle royale for the Holy Grail. Even the concept's just ridiculous. Heroes of time summoned to the future to fight for the Holy Grail to grant any one wish. It's incredible. Fate Zero, it's a 10 out of 10 for almost purely emotional reasons. I think as a show it's probably an 8 or a 9. But to me it's a 10, because so much of my thinking and the way I thought about the world was expanded by this show in my teen years. This was the show that just opened me up to all these new ways of possibly thinking about the world and the way the world works or can work. All wrapped up in this battle royale, like I said earlier, but also a lot of the characters and the tragedy and the emotional impact that they have is incredible. I think Ryder is one of the best characters in anime ever. I think he is alone can make this show, but he's surrounded by such an amazing cast. Saber is great. Gilgamesh is amazing. I guess I spoiled it. Oh, well, Archer is amazing. There are a few weak link characters here and there, but I don't care. Kiritsugu is amazing. Who else is in here? Castor and his lackey Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke and Castor are the salt of the earth, but also what they bring to the table is... yeah, Fate Zero, in retrospect, it's probably a 9. It's probably an 8. But to me, this is one of the shows that defined my teenage years, and got me to think about the world in a new way. Also, Gen Urobuchi. Let's go. This is my favorite Gen Urobuchi piece of media too. I love me some Gen, and this is Gen Urobuchi at his best, in my opinion. So yeah, Fate Zero, got it out of 10. It's probably a 9, but to me, it's a 10. Steins Gate. So you may know, okay, I was really hard on Steins Gate Zero, but that's because I love Steins Gate so much. Steins Gate is another one of my teenage defining shows, in the way that this story emotionally resonated with me on a level that nothing had ever had before, ever. Yo, let me get up my phone background right now. What do we got? My phone background. Let me get this. Let me get this phone background. Make sure I don't give it away. My phone background right now is literally Kurisu. Like, it's not Lucina. Shocker, I know. Steins Gate is such a wonderful piece of storytelling. The way time travel works and the situations that Okabe is thrown into, and Kurisu as an existence, as an entity, as a character is amazing. I guess this show, for me, could never be anything other than a 10 out of 10 just by virtue of when I watched it and how good it was relative to everything I had seen up to that point. It's just another one of those teenage defining shows for me. It came about a year or two after Fire Emblem Awakening in terms of my, chronology of consuming media. But man, Steins Gate. The story's great. The time travel's amazing. The characters are also amazing with the exception of maybe one or two. There's a few hiccups here and there, not gonna lie. I mean, the whole Ruka episode is probably the weakest in the entire show. But the ending is probably my favorite ending in anime ever. Straight up. It is amazing. Everything comes together perfectly in this show. It's cohesive, it's whole, it's stylish, it's amazingly directed, it's amazingly sound directed. Visually, aesthetic, thematically, character-wise, it is top tier. It is amazing. And also, on top of that, is like one of my teenage defining shows. So my nostalgia glasses are through the roof on this one. Steins Gate. Amazing. Finally, let's talk about Ping Pong the animation. Ping Pong the animation is by far my favorite sports anime, and probably my favorite anime, period. Ping Pong the animation captures the essence of sport, and by capturing the essence of sport, it captures the essence of play, the essence of life itself. I'm getting deep here because Ping Pong is just an exploration of what it means to play, what it means to compete, and what it means to live. All these characters are trying to find their way through life, through ping pong. They're trying to find answers to what it means to, who are they? They're trying to find themselves, and most of their self-discovery is just through playing ping pong and the matches they play and their ideologies being tested against one another, their wills being tested against one another, their abilities, their talents being tested against one another, and the way these characters bounce off one another and come to discover themselves and discover just how to live is absolutely incredible and beautiful. Each and every character just is actually perfect in terms of how they're executed, at least in my opinion. Peko is just this vibrant, energetic hero character who can never lose because he's so talented. He's so good. Even in the tightest spot, he's always going to win. He's always going to come back. He's the classical hero of sport. You've got Kong Weng, who is my personal favorite, who is kind of this hot shot from China coming into Japan from seemingly exile or a mistake he made in his homeland, and coming to prove himself and prove his abilities to not only to his people at home in China, but to himself. And it's his development as he kind of drops this bravado, this kind of cockiness, and slowly evolves into this, grounded, experienced, weathered, and, all around, better rounded person is incredible. You've got Tsukimoto this cold, robotic kind of antisocial character who under the surface is just brimming with emotion, brimming with thought, brimming with energy that just people don't see. I could go on. Every character is just full of life and fleshed out, and the way they evolve, the way it all unfolds is just beautiful. And the last episode sums it all up in one sequence. And wow. Yeah, Ping Pong the animation is by far my favorite anime. My favorite anime changes all the time, but I think Ping Pong is the one that just always stays at number one the longest for me. It sticks with me. I watch it at least once a year. It's just incredible. It's timeless. Yeah. It's also got, I don't know. Ping Pong I could talk about forever, but you know what? I've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes about anime. So I think we're good. Oh man, this is going to be a fun one to upload. An hour and 40 minutes of me talking about anime. Oh boy. If you want to look at my I dropped Girls Unpanzer, Days, The Asterisk War. I'm going to revisit Slime. I dropped Goblin Slayer. I dropped it the Major Second. Don't watch Major Second. Oh, I didn't talk about Legend of the Galactic Heroes, but that's okay. I missed Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Oh no. Legend of the Galactic Heroes, summed up, is boring as hell. But if you like boring as hell, then you'll like Legend of the Galactic Heroes. If you like history, you'll like Legend of the Galactic Heroes. I'll put it that way. If you liked history class, you'll like Legend of the Galactic Heroes. It's not for everybody. That's a quick review, but I love it. I love the hell out of it. It's also an OVA, but 110 episode OVA. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed hearing me ramble. I think, what is that, 100 minutes? That's 100 minutes of me talking about anime. So that's a lot to chew on. That's a lot to chew on, guys. So if you made it to this point in the video, congratulations, you did it. You just heard me talk about anime for over 100 minutes. This is all I've seen, so I'm not like the most weathered guy. Like these stats aren't that impressive. There's people with a lot crazier out there. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me tonight. I'll see you guys around. Have a good one. I don't know when the next video of this is gonna be up, but I hope you enjoyed this. See you.